right, so the Sporty is about to get a Springer front end. So here's what we're going to do. Got a jack under the front, gas tank's off, and we're tied down in the back. And the bike's in gear so it can't roll backwards on us. So next I'm going to raise the front end. I'm going to take off the fender and take off the front tire. And I'm going to take off the handlebars, not necessarily in that order. I'm going to use the stock handlebars with the Springer. And I don't know, but my gauges may have to be relocated. So here we go. We're going to get started getting that front end apart. So I guess first I need to get the handlebars off. So I got a 3/4 inch bolt right here that goes to the bottom of my risers. And another one right here on the other side. I guess they're easier to see from the back, right there. So we'll get those undone, and I'm just going to lay the handlebars kind of off to the side, bungee cord them to the frame or whatever I got to do. And then I'll get this headlight off, which is this one. Maybe I'll get I got to get the headlight off after the handlebars because the Speedo is kind of in the way. So let's press on. I'm going to get this brake line all undone so it doesn't hold up the handlebars. I'm reusing this brake line if I can, but I do have a new brake caliper for the Springer. All right, while we were away, I got some bungee cords set up and ready to take those handlebars. So let's get the other bolt out and get them bars off. I'll go ahead and just unplug everything over here. There we go. Now we're not just totally hanging by the wires. Now they'll stay put. All right. All right, there's that little cap. Oh, that's a big one. Fucking overkill for a headlight bracket. All right, so the fender's off. Evidently, I forgot to hit the record button before I did that, so I apologize, but it's only 4 bolts, and you just have to be careful not to scratch the paint. So next, front axle. Got a 3/4 on this side. We've got our pinch bolt, that's a 5/16 and a 9/16, and you use a number 3 Phillips in here to hold it still while you break the or to pull it out. So, pressing on. There we go, the tire is just touching the table. So we're ready. I'll take the nut off the other side, then I'll undo my pinch bolt, pull my axle out, and this tire will roll right out like nothing. have to remove the pinch bolt. Just have to loosen it. Oops. Now a big fat screwdriver. There goes the spacer. And there we go. That's it. So, because these forks are not going back on, and because the new forks came with an axle and spacers, I'm just going to slide this in. And do like that. All right, so next we've got to remove this top clamp. So I'll have to take out this bolt. There's a pinch bolt here. I'll loosen these two pinch bolts and this should slide off. There's another nut underneath that holds the steering stem in the steering neck. Okay, I guess there's not a nut under there, but there's supposed to be, or I thought there was. There we go. Now, before I go any further, Let's make sure the steering head bearings I have are going to fit. That is the correct race. That is the correct bearing. So let's make sure they fit the Springer. And they do. All right. So now I've got to get this paper off of here. That was easy. And I've got to put a spacer under there and my dust boot. So let's see if we can figure out how to make that happen. All right. I've come up with a spacer. New dust boot. And I just need to press my bearing on. But first, I gotta pack it. All right, so this is a bearing packer. So I'm gonna pack my neck bearings. I've inspected the bearing races on the bike, and they're like brand new. This bike has hardly any miles on it. So normally I'd replace them, especially since I have the new races. But in this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to reuse them. So there we have one nicely packed steering head bearing. I'm just going to add a little extra grease on there. And that one's in place. So now, steering bearing number 2. We're getting there. There we go. Nice and greased up. Now, if the situation were different, I would drill and tap and put a Zerk fitting in my steering neck. But I can't, because that's not how the steering neck is made. It's open to the top backbone of the frame, which has some wiring and stuff running inside it. So if I was to drill it and put a grease fitting in there, I would just be pumping grease into the frame, which is no good. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Well, that's no good. All right, so it's not a chopper if it doesn't require some heavy modification, right? So my steering stop sticks out just a little too far to easily clear this brace, and let my steering stem go through. And the steering stops that are built in stick out too far to clear this bit of the frame to get that to go on. And I think my fork lock is going to interfere with those steering stops as well. So I'm going to try and fit this one more time, and if I still can't get it to go on, tomorrow we're going to do a little bit of grinding and cutting and some welding, because that's what you do. Because this is the part I've got and I can't return it, so it's what I'm using. Yeah, I think if I knock the steering stops off the springer and knock just a little bit off the one on the frame, it should clear and go on. And I'm definitely going to have to take the fork lock off the frame. That's all stuff I can do. It just sucks to grind on that brand new chrome shiny Springer.